End of last year, my wrists got very itchy when I'm trying to use this mouse to edit videos because I'm the one who edits the videos. It requires a lot of mouse movement, mouse clicks, and scroll wheel rolling. So for some reason, my wrist here, specifically this point here, this middle part, start getting itchy, and I tried to rub it a lot, it still wouldn't go away. So it's definitely something wrong with my wrist. So what I ended up doing was researching for vertical mouse, and eventually I landed on this, the Logitech MX Vertical. So I spent the past more than 3 months actually using this mouse, and I am now a firm believer of why vertical mouse exists and why you should probably get one for yourself as well. So this won't be a review of vertical mouse. I'm just gonna share my experience of using a vertical mouse with you compared to a traditional mouse like this. This is the Master MM711. I really love this mouse because of its lightweightedness and also its design and its size, nice to hold. But this was the mouse that caused my wrist here to be itchy. So if you don't really know about human anatomy, then there's 2 bones here that leads from your arm towards your wrist. So one of the bone is called ulna, the other one is called the radius. And it's something like a chicken wing. If you've ever eaten chicken wing, then you can see the 2 bones leading up from one point to the other point. That is exactly what's the structure on this arm here. So the funny thing is, if you ever use this kind of traditional mouse, then you are twisting those bones like scissors, something like that. You're twisting the 2 bones, and it's not natural, I think. According to all the experts, they say it's not that natural, but that is how mouse is designed, computer mouse specifically. So vertical mouse is meant to solve that scissors action, the flipping of the bones, so that you get a more straight connection from your arm here to the wrist. As I previously mentioned, it was itchy around here, so I started using a vertical mouse. It was very weird at first, and it got even more itchier for some reason, but I managed to my wrist, and it got a lot better right now, and I can still use the traditional mouse for now, and I wouldn't have that itchy feeling again. But I would prefer for a long time, for a long term, in terms of editing video and whatnot, that requires a lot of mouse movements, then a vertical mouse is the way to go. And one thing I realized is that because of how all of this conventional mouse is meant to use a lot of wrist movements here, you can't really do that with a vertical mouse, because as you can see here, the wrist movement is more circular in motion instead of more lateral. So what I have to do now is to use my entire arm to swing the mouse instead. In a way, it doesn't strain my wrist that much in terms of having RSI or something like that, which is why it's called repetitive strain injury, RSI. I would say my wrist feels a lot better right now, and overall, vertical mouse really did change my perception on how to use a mouse. If you're ever thinking of getting a vertical mouse, I would suggest you to look for other options rather than the Logitech MX Vertical, because this design is like 3-4 years old as of now. And also, this mouse has a very weird design. You can see it looks like a conch shell from the top, but the way it is angled is not exactly vertical. And one thing weird is that when I hold it like this, as you can see from this camera, my arm is actually floating above the table. It's kind of tiring if you're using this for the first time. Actually, that's my experience as well. What I did was to actually rest my entire arm on the table and then start using it like this. So Logitech, if you're watching this, please make some sort of disc or wing that protrudes from the bottom of the mouse so I can rest my entire hand on it and move everything at one go. And one more thing is that I also realized that the Logitech MX Master 3, the latest one, they do have this kind of angle as well, but it's not that extreme. So you can see MX Vertical, it's not really that vertical, it's like, I don't know, 85, 80 degrees.
I'll call it MX Slanted.
Hey, MX Slanted is a good name for this mouse. So it's not exactly vertical, it's like 80 degrees from this direction here, but the MX3 is like 60, 50-ish degree, somewhere around that. It's not that extreme, but it's still slanted. So ergonomics is really important, especially since now that we are working from home and we need to stay at our computers at all times. So yeah, this kind of mouse is really important. So for a mouse like this, you can find some other cheaper alternatives, but most of them don't have really good software experience. For example, my sister got one called the Jellycomb or something like that. It feels weird, but it's a crescent moon somewhere around this part here. Doesn't really feel comfortable, and the software is, well, actually there's no software, so there's just a DPI toggle button at the bottom, and that's it. One thing I really like is for me to set my own DPI value, because I still want to play games using a mouse. For example, the Logitech here, they do have a very good software on Windows, so I configured it to my own DPI liking, and I actually played Halo Infinite using this mouse. Still feels good, I can still get headshots, it's just, it does take a lot of time to adapt to this mouse. But my experience has been great so far, and I don't know if I'll be switching to this kind of mouse permanently for my own use case. So that's it. That's all we have to share with you about using vertical mouse for more than 3 months right now. Yeah, it's really surreal to say that I'm using this mouse permanently now. And also one more thing to highlight, if you ever want to stand and use a mouse, this kind of vertical mouse is impossible.